Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Ashley Lauren and today I thought I'd sit down and do a Addison's disease update. It's been over a year since I filmed my last video, which was my experience with Addison's disease, where I talked about how I was diagnosed, what kind of symptoms I was experiencing, what kind of medication I was on, how it affected my life at that stage. And unbelievably, it's had 6.5 thousand views, which I can't believe, which I'm so grateful for. It's nice to know that like one of my videos is the videos that people will watch to learn a little bit more about Addison's, or to see if other people are in the same position that they're in. So that's really cool. So I'm really happy about that. So yeah, it's been over a year and I thought I'd update about what I'm experiencing now with regards to Addison's, how I'm managing it. Has there been any changes? Which there has been. So yeah, I just thought I'd sit down and continue the discussion. There's still not enough awareness about Addison's disease as a condition. There's not enough people talking about it. It's nice to put out a video where people can talk about it in the comments and talk about their experiences, realise that they're not in this alone. A lot of people are in the same position. So yeah, that's what I thought I'd do today. So yeah, if you want to talk about Addison's a little bit more, hear about where I'm at now, then carry on watching. So first thing I'm going to do is a bit of an update. So there has been a few changes since that last video. Like I said, it's been over a year since I filmed that last video, and there's been changes with regards to what I do for work now, my body, how I'm managing the Addison's disease, what's happening with doctors. So the first thing I'll talk about is work. So in that video, I was a waitress and I was pretty darn miserable at that job. I didn't feel like anyone understood me and my conditions, understood why sometimes that I did need to have the day off. I was rushed off my feet. Picture this as Saturday, the restaurant's packed, you've got to look after a section as you do when you're a waitress, and just whizzing around for hours on end without a break. That's obviously hard enough for a normal person, never mind someone who's got like Addison's disease and got these conditions that can cause fatigue, dizziness, etc. So I really struggled, but it was just an easy job to do at that time. I've done waitressing since I was 16. It was easy money. I was doing it part-time, but yeah, I was really struggling with that. Whereas today I work from home, I work from my office, I get to sit down, I get to have breaks, we get an hour lunch, so I get to take the time to make good food and not just grab junk food because you've only got like time after work just to whiz to McDonald's or something like that. The stress that I'm experiencing is a lot lower. So yeah, work has changed a lot. It's made such an impact being able to sit down and not just be on my feet for hours on end. So that's one change. Another change, my body. And I don't know if you can even tell, you can't really see it, but I have put weight on in the last year. A lot of people probably have. Obviously, we've all been in the same boat with regards to lockdown, coronavirus, quarantine, self-isolating, all that jazz. It has been so stressful, so bizarre, so surreal. So in the last year, I've probably gained a couple of stone, which in some ways is good, some ways not great. I've probably put on a little bit more than I wanted to. I did want to gain weight because I did feel like I was too slim before. I've always been pretty slim. Well, I wouldn't say I am now, but like ever since I was a kid, because I was a gymnast for years when I was a kid, so I was quite muscly, quite toned, quite slim build, and I carried on being that way throughout my teenage years and throughout the majority of my 20s. And I don't know if that was down to my metabolism being quite fast, because I did eat a lot of crap. But in the last year or so, I feel like my metabolism's just gone, I've had enough. And I have put weight on, which I did want to put weight on, but I put on a little bit too much. But I do feel a lot healthier within myself. I do feel like I needed to put a little bit of weight on, and people around me are saying I do look a lot better, like within myself, which is obviously a good thing. So that's one change as well. Another change is managing my medication. I am managing it a lot better than I was a year ago. In that last video, I was experiencing symptoms quite often. So in the beginning of the video, I think I went upstairs, I came back downstairs, and I was out of breath. And I was also experiencing a lot of dizziness, dizzy spells when standing up, low blood pressure, sometimes having bouts of having like no appetite. Whereas now I get very minimal symptoms, and if I do get symptoms, it tends to be more like fatigue. I don't get dizzy spells very often. I'm not out of breath very often, unless I'm obviously doing something where my heart rate is going up. So I feel like my symptoms have reduced massively, and that's primarily down to the fact that I'm taking my medication properly for the first time in my life, which is actually quite embarrassing to say, because I've had this condition for over 10 years. And I know that some of the comments in my last video were saying, well, you shouldn't be getting these symptoms if you're managing it properly, and I couldn't agree with you more. I shouldn't be getting frequent dizzy spells. I shouldn't be getting fatigue every single day. I shouldn't be having bouts of no appetite quite frequently, and I know that. But throughout my 20s, I had a lot of issues with depression, not really caring whether or not I got ill. I was in my bed a lot, not really knowing what I wanted to do with my life. And obviously that's no excuse, because I need to be managing my condition. It's my condition, I should be managing it, it's my body. I don't want to be putting additional stress on the NHS. But I was just not at a good point in my life, so taking my medication properly was not my primary focus. Whereas now, I have the wonderful support of my boyfriend. I've got reminders on my phone. My medication's all organised. I'm ordering it on time every month. Yeah, it's organised in my pill box by day. I know that you can get pill boxes by day or by hour or AM, PM, and that just makes such a difference, having it all organised for you. And then you can visually see if you've missed a day, which I never do. But you can see which days you've had it, and it's just so helpful to have that. So that's a huge change. And the last thing is diet and exercise. A year ago, my diet wasn't the best, and I wasn't having set meal times, and I was not exercising very often. Whereas now I'm trying to exercise 2 to 3 times a week, and my diet, I'm trying to get back on track with regards to that. I do have more set meal times, and I try and have 3 meals a day, and I'm trying to keep my snacking, because snacking is my biggest vice. I'm trying to keep that to a minimum, and if I do snack, I'm trying to replace the crisps, the chocolate, the sweets, with obviously good snacks. Obviously, I'm still allowing myself to have bad stuff, maybe at the weekend, or the odd takeaway, or yeah, sometimes allowing myself to have sweets and stuff like that, but just trying to keep it more to a minimum rather than just binging on it like I was a year ago. So I'm trying to implement changes, small changes, to make a big impact, and I do feel like it has made a big impact. I don't know if I'm coming across like I feel healthier within myself on this video. For one, I'm not out of breath like I was in the last one, and I feel like my skin's better, my nails are stronger, my hair's a lot longer than it was in that last video. I don't know, I just feel better within myself, so I thought I'd say that. I thought I'd touch on a couple of things, a couple of the questions or things that people have brought up in the comments. I wanted to say that so many people are in the same boat. You are not alone. If you're watching this and you're really struggling, just know that you're not in this alone. So many of us have gone through the hard times when you're like, I don't think I can do this, like, why did I get lumbered with this condition, no one understands me, my boss doesn't get it. Just know that so many of us have gone through similar experiences. I've gone through so many times where I've resented Addison so much. I've cried about it, I've been in hospital multiple times, not felt understood. Just know that so many of us are here for you. Your family and your friends are there for you. You've got our support. If anyone ever needs to send me a message, you can find me on Instagram, find me on Facebook, send me a message if you ever want to talk about it. There's support groups that you can join on Facebook, and I found them extremely helpful. I am part of a group on there, and people share their experiences when they've had Addisonian crisis, talking about the medication that they take, talking about what doctors they've seen, talking about their experiences with pregnancy, with having Addison's. And it's just so helpful to have discussions on there or read about other people's experiences and be like, oh yeah, that happened to me, or oh, I'm taking that medication too, or that's really interesting or helpful to know for the future. So I think it's real helpful to be a part of those groups if you do feel like you need someone to talk to or other people to relate to. But just know that I'm always here. Your friends and family are there if you need someone to talk to. You can also talk to your doctor. Try and find a doctor that you feel comfortable with, that you can voice any concerns. And that leads me on to finding a good doctor. I know that so many of you, from reading the comments, have said how difficult it was for you to get diagnosed. And obviously, if you've watched my other video, you'll have seen that I had difficulties and a bad experience with getting diagnosed. I was initially told it was all in my head. I was told that I probably just had a bug, that they said, oh, are you sure you don't have an eating disorder, which I definitely didn't. And I was just extremely unwell and not really getting anywhere. And if it wasn't for that one nurse who suggested that it could be Addison's disease, I could have ended up even more seriously unwell. You can actually go into a coma if it gets to a really bad, severe stage with Addison's disease. Luckily, that didn't happen. So just know that if you're having difficulties getting diagnosed, that you're not alone. It does happen to a lot of us, and to just keep pushing, be strong, stand your ground, go through all your symptoms, explain why you think it may be Addison's disease, do your research, push that you want tests doing. A lot of people ask me what tests I had done, and to be honest, I was so unwell. I can't necessarily remember what exact tests were done. I just know that blood tests were done. I don't remember having any MRIs or ECG or anything like that, from my memory anyway. I just remember having a blood test, but what specific blood test and what specifically they were looking for, I'm not sure. I'm not medically trained, I'm not a doctor, I'm not going to pretend to be. I was just really unwell. I was just like, take my blood, I want to find out what's wrong with me. That's all I really cared about at the time. That's all my mum cared about. So yeah. Any tips? My biggest tip is just to manage it correctly. I know it can be tempting when you're not in a good headspace to miss a pill, miss a day, but like, I'll take it later. It's so important to get into a routine with taking your medication. And even 10 years later, there's still an adjustment with having that routine with taking your medication. It's so helpful to get a pill box. It's so helpful to set reminders on your phone so that you know to take your medication. With regards to ordering the repeat prescriptions, I order mine through a service called Pharmacy to You, and they set a reminder every month for me to order my medication so that I get it on time. All you have to do, it comes up with a list of your medication, you just press order, and it's as simple as that, and they send it to your house. You don't have to go to the doctors, you don't have to ring the doctors, you don't have to go to the pharmacy, which I was doing for a while, and that's when sometimes I'd end up picking my medication up late, and it just was not practical. So if you've got, like, it depends where you live, whether or not you're based in the UK or the US, see if there's an equivalent where you can just order it online, it gets sent to your house, get it organised in your pill box. My boyfriend loves doing it. I always offer to do it, but I think he finds it really weirdly enjoyable putting all my pills in the right days and everything like that, and it's just so helpful. So manage your medication properly, take it when you're meant to take it, set reminders on your phone, try and exercise. Obviously don't overdo it, even if it's doing a dog walk every day or 3 to 4 times a week, or dance or play tennis, do something that you enjoy. With your diet, try and have set meal times, or try and at least have 3 meals a day. Don't over snack, don't overload your body with junk food, but obviously allow yourself to have treats so you don't resent food. And just try and live a healthier lifestyle. Try and minimise stress, because stress is not a good ingredient with Addison's disease. Try and do a job where they understand you, and do a job where it's not too much for your body to handle, and just make sure you've got the support of your friends and family. Don't keep it all inside. If you are struggling with it, talk about it. With your doctor. I know I'm repeating myself, but I just wish I'd done all these things for all these years, but obviously it's better late than never. Pregnancy. So I'm 31. I'm at a stage where I'm looking at starting a family within the next couple of years. And I, for years, was really paranoid and stressed and anxious about how Addison's was going to affect my pregnancy and my future child. So when I was diagnosed with Addison's and when I was discharged from hospital, the doctor did sit me down and talked through the possible ways that Addison's could affect pregnancy. And she basically said that when you are thinking of starting a family, you will need to talk to us. We will need to make preparations, look into your medication, see if we need to make any adjustments, inform you that there's a higher probability that you could have a C-section, but there's obviously a lot of women also that have had natural births. It's just to give you a heads up. She also told me that there's a slightly higher probability that you could have a smaller baby or carry smaller, but also, obviously also on the other hand, there's so many women with Addison's that have carried full term and had normal weighted babies. Is that even the right way to say it? I don't know. So it's basically, she was just giving me a heads up. This could happen, but you can have a normal pregnancy, blah, 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 blah. So I know that in the upcoming months to when I try to conceive, I will need to see a doctor, give them a heads up, make that preparation, look at my medication. Does anything need to be increased, decreased, taken away, and stuff like that. So I know there's so many women with Addison's disease that have had happy, healthy, wonderful pregnancies. So I need to just remind myself of that. Not get too stressed, not over research, because I feel like looking at stuff on Google is not always the best way. It can just end up scaring you unnecessarily. So when I do end up getting pregnant, whenever that may be, I will do some videos talking about it from the perspective of someone with Addison's disease, because I don't know if there's that many videos on YouTube. Can you hear my dog snoring? Hey you, wakey wakey. I don't know if there's a lot of videos from the perspective of someone with Addison's, or especially someone with Addison's, angina and an underactive thyroid, which I have. So yeah, the last thing I wanted to talk about was my pronunciation of adrenal. I know I was saying it wrong throughout my last video, and I just wanted to apologise for it. I do know that it's meant to be pronounced, can't even pronounce now. I know it's meant to be pronounced adrenal, not adrenal. But to me, adrenal, I just want to say it in an American accent. It sounds really American, like adrenal. And I know I'm saying it wrong. It doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm talking about. I obviously know about Addison's disease. I obviously don't know loads. I'm not a doctor. But I know at least how to say it properly. I just, being silly old me, I always just say things wrong. And I know I should be saying it right in a video talking about it. I know it's a serious topic, but it is adrenal, not adrenal, even though that's how it's spelled. That's not how it's pronounced. So I just wanted to touch upon that, and just let you know that I was just being silly, and just not pronouncing it right. So yeah, that's the end of the video. If you've got any questions, shoot them down below. If you ever want someone to talk to, you can find me on social media. I'll link all that down below. If you ever need someone to talk to, you can join these support groups on Facebook, and I can always leave that down below as well. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want anything else from me to talk about anything else, please let me know. Give me some suggestions. You can also check out some of my other videos that I've done. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. And remember, stay healthy and look after yourself, because no one else is going to. Bye guys.